They do 4-2-1 like this. If it connects, they confirm the string. If it gets blocked, they might stop here at only -2. It's just the amount of benefits he gets from Incinerator while staying safe. And he can always threaten the 4th hit, which is super delayable, by the way. And guess what? Even if you block that hit, he's -3 now. What's up, guys? TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. I'm gonna do a video on Bryan today. I never made a breakdown of Bryan in Season 2, and I feel like I always should have done one. But you know, Season 2 was such a mess on release that it was all over the place anyway. But it's also timely to do it because Bryan is right now doing super well in tournaments. There's a combination of factors there, like he's still so strong, but also a lot of the other main contenders like Dragon of Yoshi, Kuma, blah blah blah, they got nerfed. So it kind of helped him quite a bit. But also Arslan recently said that he thinks Bryan might be top 5. And to be fair, he has a point. The stats speak for themselves. He does well online, he does well in tournaments. But then TheMainManSWE recently talked about the top 5 and there was no Bryan to be seen. And also from what I see from TheMainManSWE, he keeps saying that Bryan is actually weaker now than he was in Season 1. I don't know where TheMainManSWE puts Bryan on the tier list. Is he even gonna put him in the top 10? The way he speaks about Bryan, it sounds like he doesn't even think Bryan is a top 10 contender. So we're gonna talk a little bit about these things today, but in short, Bryan is unbelievably strong. It's due to anytime Bryan breathes, you get counter it launched. Half his move list counter it launches you, and if he wants to, he can stay absurdly safe, and he also has insanely high damage. And we're getting used to a game where everyone has insane wall travel and damage, but Bryan still outdoes like most of a roster in terms of damage. And then of course, when it comes to the wall, I don't know how I did that, back 4 here, like, you know, enough said, you know how it goes. At the wall, he has this to threaten you with. He has a 28 frame unblockable taunt that leads to this situation. He has Incinerator, which is not terribly fun in the open, but at the wall it's torture. And you know, once he's in heat, he links this stuff, and then he has a heat smash that's plus 15 at the wall. Oh my god, and that's without me mentioning the Soul Eraser, right? I know you all love this move. So it gets pretty dirty with Bryan. I think it's interesting to look at TheMainManSWE's perspective, because from what I've read, what he said is exactly what I said at the launch of Season 2. Like, Bryan got significant nerfs. Bryan in Season 1 had a god neutral. So what do we mean by this? Like, any range you stood in, like here, he could threaten you with an unparryable elbow that was a heat engager, and once he was in heat, it was a launcher, right? Requiem. And a safe at -9. This move was pseudo-homing. You could step it to the right, but it was unbelievably strict. I don't know if it was frame perfect, but it felt literally impossible to do. So this guy, he controlled all of the space and time around him with Requiem. And honestly, when he was in heat, this move, was it the best move in the game, arguably, once he was in heat? Because suddenly, it's a full screen, unparryable, mid-homing launcher. That's what? Plus 5 on block. Like, I do believe by the end of Season 1, once Prominence was nerfed, this might have been the best move in the game. That alone just made his neutral absolutely absurd to deal with. And then you had, like, just couldn't step Bryan. Incinerator. Why was this homing? Quarter circle back 1. Very hard to step. And also made his anti-step so strong, because you all know what this does on counter hit. It launches you. But the way it penalized you in Season 1 when this hit you stepping, because you were knocked into the ground for a guaranteed follow-up, and most Bryans there would soccer kick you on the ground into pancake flip into Oki. It was just absurd how much he shut down stepping. He didn't even have to use his proper homing moves. You know, Tekken 7 and now in Season 2, they use homing moves now. The boys didn't even do that in Season 1. All they had to do was Requiem, Core Circle Back 1, Incinerator, and you were locked down. That's what made Bryan the most busted in Season 1, I think. Not the most busted character, because God knows there was so much dumb shit. But that's just... arguably his biggest strength in Season 1 was his neutral, and how absurd it was. This is what me has been stressing, and when I said at the start of Season 2 that he lost this neutral. You see this? I can just step. Both of these. This literally cannot be done in Season 1. You can't do that. So in Season 2, Bryan players, they can't just mindlessly throw this shit out. They have to think a little bit. And now they are actually back. If you've seen Knee Low High Play or any good Bryan Online Warfare Salt, they are back now to using Mach Kick. And 1+2, down forward 4. You know, the way it should be. Yet again, Bryan is a more interesting character in that regard. And he no longer has the dumbest neutral in the game, although these moves are still very, very good, right? It's just no longer absurdly stupid. So in this regard, Knee is actually correct. But, and it's a big old but, Bryan got a lot of new stuff. Bryan got a lot of new toys, and they're pretty shiny and nice. The new toys are pretty good. So this is where I think Knee is maybe underselling the new Bryan a little bit. Because we're gonna look at the new stuff. And, you know, getting a full crouch mix-up, where you have a wall splatting -10 super evasive Northern Cross, but can now at all times threaten this low? That's +7? A hatchet, -13, just like the other hatchet, +7 from crouch, where he has this move. Like, both of these options are -10, by the way. Evasive Northern Cross wall splat, -10. Fisherman Slam, literally 100 damage without a wall. Can I blue spark? No, I'm recording for YouTube, so I can't do anything. I'm not gonna use heat. 90 damage into Oki. That's without a wall. Fisherman Slam doesn't hit like a truck. It hits like a boat. And only -10. So again, wall splat, -10. Fisherman Slam, -10. While he's threatening you with that new hatchet, that's +7. And -13 is everything you will ever get on that. Because the game treats this move like a heat smash low, which means you cannot low parry it for bigger damage. And then in terms of new stuff, we have back 1+2. This move was nerfed. But again, at the wall, +4. He goes into crouch, and now he threatens the new mix-up, right? And it chips. Nice. So, up for the one. New Power Crush. -13. Long range knockdown. Very long range. But the disgusting thing, Fakuram seems to have the exact same thing, by the way. In that... let's see, I need to spend this. So now I don't have Snake Eyes. I have Snake Eyes. So this is actually a Power Crush where if Bryan lands it, boom, he gets his install. That's real fucking strong. And wall splats, of course. Also, something very noteworthy that Bryan got was they keep buffing his punishment. He got 4-1. He used to do 4-3 for 27 and +2, but now can do 4-1, and if he goes into backsway, +8. If he doesn't go into backsway, +7. This is pretty fucking good. 30 damage, 12 frame punish into mix-up. This also did a lot for a character that already had very good combos. Open up these routes. It's a very consistent, very damaging routes. That's what he got in terms of buffs. So that's where people have been sort of debating within the community, like, is he better or worse than he was in Season 1? I believe he's in a better position now, when it's all said and done. And he has a point in what he says regarding the God neutral of Season 1. That's true, that is gone. But all this new stuff is very strong. And he also benefits from a lot of other characters getting nerfed, in my opinion. I would be more inclined to believe Bryan is between top 5 and top 10 than I would be to say that he doesn't qualify for a top 10. So I don't know if I agree with Arslan saying he is top 5, but he's up there. You know, he's a very strong character. Even with Core Circle back 1 nerfed, this is still a super fast counter hit launcher, but does so much damage. It's still +5 on block. This move is still absurd. And then Incinerator, like, oh sure, it lost its tracking, but the fucking frames on that thing. How many times do you see low, high, and knee, not mindlessly, but just, they do 4-2-1 like this. If it connects, they confirm the string. They do the whole string. If it gets blocked, they might stop here at only -2. And then they'll start checking with this and quite safely go, oh, did this connect? And then they confirm it. Another classic is just 4-2-1-2 into 4-3. Try and have them press there. They get nuked in the face. 4-2-1-2 into jab string. You know, this is a countered string. This stuff is super safe. It's just the amount of benefits he gets from Incinerator while staying safe. And he can always threaten the 4th hit, which is super delayable, by the way. And guess what? Even if you block that hit, he's -3 now. And if he doesn't want to start checking you at those frames, could you just step, see what you're going to do? If you throw something out mindlessly, and he can punish you for that. It's just that even with the nerfs, these moves are so fucking strong. And then, you know, you can get into all sorts of things. How strong his 10 frames are. The fact that have you seen how much knee relies on forward 3? And why wouldn't he? Mid counter hit launcher, 16 frame startup, neutral on block. But it's like everyone thinks of Hatchet when they think of Bryan. And that's very good, right? You know, that counter hit property, the fact that it gives +5. Sets up a lot of stuff. And it's only -13. It's a very good low. But it's like, when you look at the other lows he has, like down 4, it's 15 frame startup. Note the range. It also hits grounded. Oh, sorry, I can't even do a down 4. It hits grounded, has a ton of reach, 15 frame startup, only -11 on block, so that 12 frame punishes don't work on it. Did you know this is homing? It has unbelievable tracking to both sides. That move is broken. And then down back 3, people forget about this move. I think because it's not plus on hit, but it's like, it's -1 on hit, -12 on block, and very evasive, and has great reach. And again, sets up the full crouch stuff. And then, of course, you add the Neo Hatchet. Like, he's a monster in the low department. Absolute monster. And then we don't talk enough about how strong this is down for the one. Again, have you seen how much low, high, and knee just juice this? And when it's all said and done, I'm more Team Arslan in the end, that he's probably closer to top 5 than to say that his character is like top 10 or outside of top 10. But so those are just some thoughts on Bryan I wanted to get out there. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.